right, everybody, I am here with Stephanie Jones from Me and Mrs. Jones here in Memphis, Tennessee. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, just give us kind of an idea about, what the business is all about and how you got everything started.
Sure. So the business sort of has three prongs. We teach classes in all kinds of refinishing techniques. We do custom work. So if somebody doesn't have the time or the inclination to do a piece on their own or a set of chairs like you see here, we take on custom projects. And then we also sell and represent some paint companies that aren't at the hobby shops or hardware stores. There's
Okay.
kind of a niche in the middle there of environmentally friendly products that we really like to use and teach. So we have those as well.
So, as far as the repurposing, how did that all start for you?
It started when I was a broke newlywed and just taking hand-me-downs and cast-offs and trying to furnish our own home. And just sort of grew from there. I found it was something I loved to do. My background is actually in banking and reinsurance, but this was something that just lit up my brain in a whole different way. So I started to teach myself how at first, and then was able to go and take classes other places and learn from some of the pros in the business, and it all just kind of grew from there.
Perfect. So let's talk about the classes that you all offer. Go into some more detail
Yes.
about exactly what entails, what's included for the students. Just kind of give us a breakdown.
Sure. So twice a month or three times a month, just depending on the season, we offer workshops, and people might learn something like an art panel that they can create and take home with them, or our woodworker will make us a little box like this that people can learn all kinds of different finishes on, or we do in our intro to furniture painting, we do a little sample library that everybody creates 4 different samples that they take home with them. But basically, our classes, whether it's a technique class or a project class, I'm trying to trick everybody into learning things that they need to know, something that will equip them to do a whole piece of furniture. So for instance, you might just create a little sample, but you can go home and do a mirror frame or an old desk or powder room cabinets with these same
Right.
techniques. So I really like to teach everybody something start to finish that they can take home, but then they'll feel confident and feel like they've learned enough to take on a bigger project on their own.
That's awesome. So at EstateSales.NET, sustainability is something that we're always talking about. We never want to see anything end up in a landfill.
Yes.
What's sort of the inspiration for this sustainability side of what you guys do here?
Kind of the same thing. For me, it just became a little bit of a personal thing to not see things on the curb or, at next to a dumpster somewhere. Something about that just feels wrong to me. So the idea that we can take something and breathe new life into it and make it useful again, a lot of times all people need is a little glue or a couple of good screws, and something could be sturdy and useful again. And if you can brighten it up and express yourself creatively by making it your own with some paint or some embellishments, some gold leaf, some stenciling or other sorts of surface decoration, I just think it serves lots of different purposes. It's something personal for you. It's something that you've kept out of the landfill, because I do think that's important.
Okay, so obviously, we have a pretty big audience here. Not everybody is lucky enough to live in the great city of Memphis. So let's say that I wanted to start, repurposing furniture.
Hmm.
What should I include in my toolkit? Maybe the first things I should buy to really get started.
Yes, that's a great question. So I would say good cleaners are the most important thing, because that's going to allow you to really, as you clean a piece, you're kind of getting to know it. It's when a lot of times that's when we'll discover when there's a loose joint or something that needs a little tightening or a little adjusting. So cleaners can range from vinegar and water for a piece that's maybe been in your home that you just need to clean up a little bit, to something like denatured alcohol or mineral spirits if you've got a piece that you found at an estate sale that maybe has old wax or old furniture polish on it. But that's going to help you sort of get to know the surface. So a range of good cleaners is important. A good glue, a good wood or furniture glue, some clamps, some little finishing nails, a good little tack hammer. And I love a cordless screwdriver just for, getting screws out of things, getting screws out of seats,
Yeah.
tightening things back up again. I think that's always a good investment, is a good little small power drill and screwdriver.
Like a survival kit for the repurposer.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We hold a lot of things together with glue and
Yeah.
screws.
Perfect. So let's say that you're at an estate sale and you find a piece. Where do you draw that line of I should keep this original versus I should really try to repurpose this?
And that's another huge topic of discussion in our classes, because there is that middle ground. There are the antiques and the pieces that are too fine that you should restore with,
Right.
and whether that's either with tung oil or hemp oil, or to refinish in a loving way with the proper varnishes or shellacs, wood stains. And then there are pieces that are so not worth your time and effort. I always look on the back. If something has staples holding the back panel on a dresser, it's probably not worth the time and effort. I hate to say it, but it's not going to be worth the materials and the time to redo it. But in the middle are a whole bunch of wonderful pieces, reproduction pieces, pieces that aren't sentimental the way they are. If your grandfather hand painted something, I'm gonna say, please don't
Right.
touch it. But if it's something that's a reproduction piece, maybe from the early 1900s, something sturdy, something that you like the style of, but maybe just not the finish of, those are the perfect pieces. Something that's too dark, maybe, or too light. So there's just a whole bunch of things in the middle that need to be
Yeah.
spruced up.
So people should know that there's a difference between refinishing and repurposing.
Yes.
Let's kind of get into that.
Yes. So when you repurpose something, refinishing something, I would say, is to kind of honor the original finish. Maybe some stripping is involved, but you're going to put it back the way it was, put it back the way the maker originally intended it to look. Repurposing is, I would say, making something more your own. And like there's an old buffet behind you that had been pine, it had a bunch of wax on it, but our clients want to use it as a sink and a bar. So we put a painted finish on it, a really good tight top coat on it so that it'll be water resistant, but they'll be able to put a vessel on it and plumb it for water and have a tray with all their drink items on it, and make it something all new for them that suits them.
Okay, so it's about getting maybe another use for something that's outside of its original
Exactly.
what it was intended to be.
Exactly. We see a lot of young couples taking old dressers or buffets to be used as changing tables.
Yeah.
And you can add a little side rail for safety and a cushion on the top, and those old pieces are wonderful because they have such great storage. A lot of old dressers and buffets being used as TV stands now, where for a while it was armoires. Everybody wanted an armoire to tuck their electronics away. Now we're seeing more people repurpose those pieces as a media stand.
Because I guess back in the 90s, they thought TVs weren't going to get any bigger, so they wanted to put them in a cabinet. But, I have seen taking those, for instance, and turning them into, like, play kitchens and
Yes,
things like that.
yes,
So,
absolutely. I think armoires are kind of going back more to their original purposes,
Yeah.
more storage for linens and things, or for play and clothing. But it's funny, isn't it?
and
How
you could
things
even, you could pass those pieces down. Those are now an heirloom.
an heirloom,
Yeah, so,
exactly.
So if people are listening from the Memphis area, how do they get in touch with you about getting your class?
Yes, so me and Mrs. Jones Memphis.com is our website, and I always post our workshop schedule there. You can sign up there, or there's a phone number and an email address on the website, and they can get in touch and find out more, find out what's coming up, anything like that. And we love to hear what people want to learn. So if you want to learn metal leaf, or you want to learn some other techniques. We love to hear from our customers. Kate and I want to incorporate what people are looking for.
So my last question is, and there's definitely a right answer.
Okay.
What's your favorite place to find pieces to repurpose?
Oh my gosh, estate sales, hands down.
She nailed
It's
it.
the best.
She
It's
nailed
the
it.
best because they're already sort of pre-curated.
Right.
I mean, I can do some digging and some hunting, but
Sure.
it's so nice to go to an estate sale and have things laid out for you and chosen for you.
Well, perfect. Well, Stephanie, this has been such a good time. I really appreciate you taking some time to sit down
Of
with me. Again, everybody,
course.
Stephanie Jones from me and Mrs. Jones
Thank
here in Memphis.
you.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.